Yeah. Welcome to the DC Stewart Show Podcast. This is your host, Derek Stewart. Along with my two kin folk, I got my man Isaiah and I got Najee, and we're doing this thing again on a Sunday. We got it going on. Gentlemen, we just hit 700 subscribers. Let me get a round of applause on that.
Yeah,
When we started out with 0 subscribers. So I'm very proud of
no. I
where
told
we
you.
are now versus where we
Yeah.
were. And we're growing. I mean, this party is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Tuna.
And I'm so encouraged and excited about our viewers because what we're bringing to them the rawest content on earth. I'll be the first to say I'm confident that we're bringing you everyday raw content. And I'm sure it's more people out there that can bring it to you, but they can't bring it to you like us because it's only one of a kind. We're only
Bring
one of
it
a
for you
kind.
hard, baby.
We hitting it hard. We going
Yes,
hard into
sir.
the paint. We got our guy Najee back today. I am so elated to have
Yeah,
Najee back. Brother,
yeah, man.
I'm blessed to be able to have you back on this show because I knew you were away on assignment. So listen, we're gonna hit this thing hard today on a recap, talking a little bit about the NBA's draft and talking
Yeah,
about the number one pick, Cooper Flagg,
amazing.
and several other people, that went in the first five. So we're gonna break down the top 10 picks and how they can help their teams and which teams did what to get where we are for the players that they drafted. But before we do all of that, let's take a moment of silence for Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. We love this guy on this show, by the way.
Yeah,
There is no other Deion Sanders on this
no
earth. The
don't.
brother's out of
Yeah.
Fort Myers, Florida. Um, we watched him pretty
Mm-hmm.
much grow into where he is now. Prime, get well. Prime, get well.
Yeah,
That's all we want you to do. We want you to get
yeah.
well. We'll see you back on the sidelines because it's nothing like watching a Colorado Buffs game with you on the sideline, taking charge of these young men and building these young men's characters into
Yeah.
winners. Winners, not only on the field, but off the field.
Yeah.
So let's say this. Why don't you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button because we got a lot of people just did that today. And we're breaking records getting there. So I tell you what, folks, on the 1,000th subscriber, we're gonna have a celebration on this show. We'll go live stream that day, and the first person who hits 1,000, we're gonna hit it hard. We're going hard into the paint with it. So let me introduce my kinfolk. There's no kinfolk like my kinfolk because I was born and raised in Miami, Florida, and my kinfolk is right here with me on this show. So let me first introduce you to my number one kinfolk, Isaiah. How the hell are you? How did your weekend go? Tell me a little bit about your workout program because I'm coming at you on that workout program, bro.
Come on. Listen, man, it couldn't be any better. Beautiful day, man. It was extraordinary. Bro, sun was out. It felt like it was gonna rain. It ain't doing nothing. Overcast, dark, cloudy, whatever you call it, but magnificent. Just got back from a dinner with the fam and having a good time with them. And what else could I ask for? Come back over here with my two other guys, man. They couldn't get no better than this. Now, down to my workout regimen, diamond push ups, boxing, squats, running. Get
So
it in, baby. Getting it in.
you doing high impact
Yes,
exercises,
sir.
right? I mean, something that
Yes.
really hits
And
your system
small
hard,
lifting.
something that really stretches your system to burn fat, correct?
Yep, you got it. And then putting something on these biceps, triceps. It's gonna come. It's coming. Baby, it's coming. Hard work. That's what it all entails. Eating the right thing sometime. But brother, it comes when you're doing something. That movement makes all the difference. In the couch potatoes, you can't get it like that. Gotta be moving. Gotta do something. Off
Got
that
to keep
couch,
it moving. You
get your
can't
walk
stay
in,
still.
even if you just
Get
do a couple
moving. You're
walk
gonna
a
pack
block.
on the pounds. You're gonna pack
Yep.
on the weight. And I'm a perfect
Mhm.
example of that. That I've actually gained 8 pounds over the last month, and that's been due to me not walking
Mm.
as much. But I'm gonna start walking a lot more often. Listen, I have a treadmill
Mhm.
here, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't use it
Somebody's
more
not being
often.
disciplined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So
Oh,
let me go to my
yeah.
other number one kinfolk. See, I got two number one kinfolk. I don't have no number one and two. I got two number one kinfolk right here. But number one kinfolk just spoke. Now I want to hear about my other number one kinfolk named Najee. So how was your weekend? Tell us a little bit about your assignment away, and we're glad to have you back, bro.
Well, of course, well, during the draft, I had to work, so there was no way I was gonna be able to do both. So I had to do. So of course, I had to get my
Absolutely.
time in at work. But then this weekend, Friday, I spent time with my folks. Saturday, my girlfriend Rakia, she had her 20-year anniversary for a class reunion. So we was out there
Awesome.
for
Awesome.
Booker T, the Tornadoes. Me, I'm a Miami Springs Golden Hawk. We don't celebrate nothing. So when she has something, I attend to that. So at least that, I'm included into something, I guess. But it was hot, and hot. I thought it was gonna rain because the clouds did come by a little bit, and then it was some
Yeah.
breeze. But no, then the clouds went away and it just got hotter. But I mean, we went to the movies after that, enjoyed ourselves, and then came back home earlier this afternoon. We had a pretty decent weekend, nice and peaceful. Nobody had to scream at each other. We had fun, enjoyed each other's time.
Absolutely. And you know what?
Beautiful.
When
Beautiful.
we talk about assignment and you spoke work, work is an assignment. So that's a constant grind
Yes.
Hmm.
and it's a constant assignment. So that's just all well and good because everybody needs to work and put in some work, have things to do,
Hmm.
have projects to do every day. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to be getting compensated for it. You just as long as you're busy and keeping yourself busy and everything else,
Yeah.
that's all that matters. Don't sit idle
You
because if
spot
you
on
sit,
with it.
yeah, if you sit idle,
You
you
spot
just
on with that,
scrolling.
DC.
Right, right.
Because my charitable work is work. I mean, you may
Thank
not be
you,
getting paid for it. That time and effort that you put into it is work, man. I
thank
mean,
Hmm.
you,
you can
thank
go
you,
out there
thank
and
you.
do some stuff for the elderly or the at-risk kids or the youth. So
Exactly,
listen, man, it's always a work. It's the work in progress of anything. Yep.
absolutely,
To make somebody's
absolutely.
lives better. That's what it's all about.
That's it. That's
You
it.
know?
So Najee, let Rakia know that
Hmm.
congratulations on her anniversary. We really we're happy and ecstatic for her and you as well because I know you celebrating it with her. So let her know how we feel about that because I mean I'm a little bit ashamed because I haven't been to my any of my class reunions and I'm kind of I my class reunions
Damn.
are back in Atlanta, so I haven't really made it. But hopefully, if they do another one, I'm going to try to make a concerted effort to go back to my class and see the people that I went to high school with, because that would mean the world to me, and I'm pretty sure that they might be happy to see me as well. For all everybody at Northside High School, Atlanta, Georgia, class of '85, cheers
Woof,
to the
woof.
reunion and to the growth of your
Man,
lives of whatever you did with your
I didn't
life.
know you was that old.
Hey, well,
Antique in the
I'm
making.
giving my age
Blue
away, right?
tabs.
I'm
Blue
giving my age
tabs.
Woof.
away.
Antique.
You said
That's
85. That's 40 years
good.
Class of
today.
85,
Antique.
Northside High School in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, they changed the name of the
Mm.
school. It's called North Atlanta because what they did is they took North Fulton High School was right up the street. It was in the Buckhead area, but that school didn't have a big population. We had a decent population, so they merged two schools together and now they call it North Atlanta High School. But it's still at the campus where Northside was back when I was in high school back then. By the way, I had a fantastic high school experience. That experience was no experience like no other experience I've had in life. So to be able to go through those years, it mattered all much to me as well. One thing I want to do is say before we get this party started, I want to send a cheers and a shout out to a gentleman by the name of Sam. He's a hockey player. I met Sam a couple of days ago, and I'm working on getting Sam to come on to this show because they just had the NHL draft about 3 4 days ago, and I was supposed to see it, but I didn't get a chance to see it because I was busy. But we're going to get Sam on to this show, and we're going to have him on here to explain to us the game of hockey. I mean, because hockey is a big sport, it's growing. They had a first pick just like the NBA draft did. Very competitive sport. You got to be in great conditioning to be able to skate up and down that rink with
Got
a
to,
with a, you. I
got
mean,
to.
Yeah,
chasing
nonstop.
a puck,
Hmm.
and being able to get that puck into that net. That takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of banging, and we want Sam on to this show. So Sam, if you're listening, I'm going to be reaching out to you really soon. So, where the party at?
Right here, baby.
It's right here. It's right here. Right
I'm going to
here.
go ahead and put my U sign up too as well for this party because
You better, cause
that's
boy,
where
we
the
gonna be doing
party
this year.
that's
Man,
where
you
we're
better put
going
that
to the
you up.
party at
We
for the
going to do some
U.
big
It's
things
all
this year.
about the U, baby. It's all about the U. That's what I'm talking about.
It's you first, and then later on in the season, it'll be this for the Gators and all my Gator friends, and
Yeah.
then there's this for the Florida State Seminoles.
I hear you. You rooting for the whole state. See, that's where we break off
Yeah, I'm
at.
a state guy. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Don't you break off nowhere, because I told you I'm a 305 man. Now, if they
Yeah.
were playing somebody else, then I root for Florida State. If they playing the Kings, no, man. Why you always getting that mixed up?
I only have
Then
one team that I really want to follow. Can you let me do that? Can you let me
what
have
team
my
do you follow?
can I get my joy? This is my joy to
You
be
don't
able
get
to
no
do
damn joy when
this.
you're wrong. Oh man, you didn't get no damn joy when you're getting wrong. Man, I'm a University of Miami King
he,
to the end.
he never talks about one team. Like he'll talk about he reps the Miami teams and then he'll do LA.
Well,
How
I
is
live
that
in
even
LA,
one
so you
team?
know what?
That's
I gotta
that's
All
support
the
not
the
one
time.
Rams
team
and the
though.
Lakers.
But
Come
it's
on,
not
man. The
one
Rams
team,
and
so
the
you can't
Lakers is
say
where
that.
it's at out
It
here.
it can't it
He,
can't be
he
more
talked
than
some
one.
statement too when
It
the
can't
league
be more than
started.
one with your convenience.
Yeah,
No, you don't do that.
yes, he
Well,
got to, man.
it looks like Isaiah is chasing that convenience with Florida State and the Gators.
No, I'm
We
not.
never rooted
No,
for
I'm not.
Florida State and the Gators. Those were considered
When they play anybody else, I
rivals.
do. Do it. I do not want Florida State to beat University of Miami under no circumstance. I don't want Florida to beat the University of Miami under no circumstance. When they playing anybody else outside of this state, yeah, I'm rooting for Florida State. If they playing Georgia or Alabama or either picking South Carolina, I'm rooting for Florida State. That's how I am.
So so who you'll
Do
go
you
for if
ask
it's
me
Florida
what
State
team to
versus
sign?
Gators?
I don't care which one beat the play and who wins
Now there
after
you
that.
go.
The
Now
Florida
there
State,
you go.
I do not care. They beat
Najee, he
neither
just
one
told
of them
on
is not.
himself. He
I
just
ain't
gave
telling on
himself
myself,
up.
man. These are two in-state teams. He just said that, knucklehead. He just asked me who would I take out of these two. I don't care who win out of that damn team. Out of Florida State and Florida, I don't care who wins.
He's a
I
knucklehead.
got buddies that plays at both schools, but when it comes to the Canes, I'm all this, baby.
It's all this.
See,
That's where it's at.
you're
That's where it's
right.
at. It
That's where
starts
I am.
there, it begins there, and it ends there at the University
That's
of
where it
Miami.
does.
So let's kick
Yep.
this show off and let's talk about the NBA draft recap. We want to talk about that and go in
Yeah.
depth into the number one pick, Cooper Flagg, starting with him. Listen, Cooper Flagg
Yeah.
is a phenomenon. Cooper Flagg
Amazing dude,
is
man.
a
Mhm.
generational player. Cooper Flagg, to me, by my estimate, is one of the best Duke players to ever play basketball at Duke. He led in every stat at Duke. I mean, the guy's
That's saying a lot,
athletic.
DC.
To me, he
Saying a
reminds me
lot,
a
buddy.
lot, and Najee might have a little bit difference with this, but he reminds me a lot of King James when King James came out of high school. Although Cooper Flagg went to college, King James used to sky just like that. He used to go to the basket. He had a deadly outside shot. So it was well deserved that Dallas made amends for letting Luka get out of there and bringing in Cooper Flagg, because Cooper Flagg is going to make a difference with Dallas. And he saved Nico's job, I think. I mean, the general manager, because he was taking so much freaking heat because Luka was a fan favorite. I mean, why would you trade Luka? I suspect that Nico got pressure to trade Luka, and he just had to take the brunt of the heat
He just
for
take the
it.
fall for it.
He took the
Yeah.
fall for it. He took a direct order from up above his pay grade, and then he had to make the call, and then all of it fell in his lap because the fans, the first thing they pointed at, look, you're a general manager. Why you let him go? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to start with you, Najee, and find out, how do you think Cooper Flagg is going to impact this team since Kyrie Irving is still out?
And Kyrie Irving is still out. He's going to be out for if not at least what 60, 70 games of next season. He's going to miss all of that time.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
between
Entire year.
he tore his ACL. So I'm saying that's the minimum that I said if not he's going to miss at least 60 to 70 games, which is pretty much a full season. And so if
Yeah.
they don't be in like in type of like playoff contention or a respectful place in the conference standings, he's gonna miss the entire season. But
Mm-hmm.
they need that because Kyrie's not only a ball handler, he's also a distributor and he's one of the top scorers on the team. So you
Exactly.
definitely need that role filled in while he when he's rehabbing and healing up and getting back into basketball shape because AD can't do it by himself. The AD, he
No.
can score, he can defend, but AD he's just almost like Kareem. He has to be put in position to be able to do it. He's not going to create his own shot. He's not going to get himself in position in a place for him to be successful. He needs somebody to put the ball in a decent spot for him, then he'll go to work. So Cooper could do that for him.
Well, I think he's gonna be a dramatic impact on this team, man. When I seen them pick him in the first round, I was simply amazed to see if they
Mm-hmm.
can get every one of those players to work at their highest potential, they're gonna be a good contender this year. That's what I
True.
really think.
True. True. I think they will
They're not gonna
too,
be a good.
because
They're not gonna be a contender. It's too many teams. There's too many teams in the West. They can be in a respectful spot, but they're not gonna be contenders. Not yet. Not yet. It's just too soon for you to say a rookie
We
can
never
be a
know
contender
when
in
that
the
team.
West because now you have at least 4 or 5 teams that's overwhelmingly better than them right now. So you can't put them in a contender spot right now. Contender spot is the top three
Well,
for me. Top three. Nothing else
if
in
you
there.
can get these guys in jail, you never know how far they can push it because you got already two halfway decent players on there, and any team that's be in the contention for anything at least has to have three or more that's solid. Three solid players. He will make that third solid player if everybody is intact, especially if Kyrie get back and healthy.
oh well, Kyrie is definitely. I mean, he'll be the X factor at that point where he'll be distributing the ball the way Kyrie distributes the ball. Kyrie is one of the best in the business when it comes to that. So I mean, that's without a doubt. But as Najee stated earlier, Kyrie is going to be out up to 70 games next year. So it's going to be Cooper Flagg. I mean,
Yeah, and
he's
and
going to
then when he
be
We'll,
get
we'll
back,
the
he
see.
got to get
starter.
into
We
shape,
will
and
see.
then they got to build chemistry. That's more than a
Yeah, we,
season,
we will
and
we'll
that's
see
more
that.
than a
I just
couple of weeks
really
too.
want to see. When did he have his surgery? Now, do you know when he had his surgery?
He had the surgery right after his injury, like literally right after, and he
When
got
was
hurt.
that?
What March?
I'm I'm
He got
asking.
he got hmm? Say he
What
got
happened in March, man? I can.
yeah he got hurt
We
like
we we need to say this
if it
like the
wasn't late if
first
it
of
wasn't late February it was
the season.
because he had
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
play
but
without AD.
let's
AD
monitor
got
this
hurt the
later on
first
because
game he was
man,
there.
yeah, but
Right.
sometimes your rehabilitation, it goes different with everybody. It depends on how hard he work at it. Because if he get in there and he go down and he do everything thing the trainers tell him to do. He drop a few pounds in the process. You don't have to put less pressure on it. Man, he might be back sooner than that. We really don't know. Because if you get in there and rehab like you're supposed to, get in that whirlpool, get it healed up really nice, he probably could come back early. We never can tell. So if you judging off of other people's injury when it takes them practically to get healed, he might be ahead of schedule if he works hard at it.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm looking at
What
Dallas's
do you
roster.
think, DC?
I won't even want honestly. I won't even want him to rush it. I don't even want him to rush it, to be honest, because when you rush injuries, that's when another injury comes back.
That's true. So Kyrie should just take his time.
Well,
Tyrese,
we're not even saying
Tyrese
rushing.
had a
Right,
strain in his calf, and and then he just blew his Achilles playing right after that.
right.
But
So
we're
looking
not
at
talking
this
about rushing it. If it's healed, it's healed.
So
Not
looking
trying to
at
rush him to
Dallas's
get back.
roster right now, it's Max Christie, Anthony Davis, Spencer Dinwiddie, Kessler Edwards, and then Cooper Flagg is definitely going to be a slot in. So if you look at the first five, I know Jason Kidd is he's a master at putting together packages of players with the starting
Hmm.
lineup to the second starting lineup, to the point where he can rotate players in and out. And Cooper Flag is he's going to have to get his feet wet because, I mean, once he steps in there and starts to see the speed of the game is what makes the difference between college and pro, especially in football, but basketball too. You get, and I think Cooper Flag is going to adjust just fine. However, the speed of the game, once the game starts to slow down for a player who was at that college level and was a superstar at that college level, and then he gets to the pros, and then the game is not so fast, and then it starts to slow down because I've heard so many players say, look, when it starts to slow down, that means that I've adjusted.
Struggle because they're gonna then you got to play half court offense.
Exactly. But to be able to watch him at Duke and what he did at Duke, like I said before, was just truly freaking amazing. Duke came up short against Houston. They were in the Final Four. This was Houston's year, although they did not win the championship. Florida ended up winning the championship. But, I mean,
A
he
lot of
took
people.
Duke to some places that I haven't known many other players other than Christian Leitner, Bobby Hurley, you know, Johnny Dawkins, and most people don't even remember Johnny Dawkins, but Johnny Dawkins was a guard back in the '80s, and Johnny Dawkins was, man, he was a bad dude. That brother, he used to run that court like a field general back then. And as long as Mike Krzyzewski was at Duke, he was able to bring in and just restock technically every year, talent wise. I mean, Duke would get the cream of the crop players, 5-star players constantly coming up into that program, and that legacy just continued on, because Jay Billis, he's another one that played at Duke, and Jay Billis is a ESPN analyst right now. I can remember a lot of the days that Duke played a lot of good teams back in the day. And to be
Yeah.
able to see Cooper Flagg come out and be the number one pick. So, Najee, who was the last number one pick could you compare Cooper Flagg to? Would you have a number one pick or someone that you can maybe compare his abilities to?
Yeah, it's only the
And that can be with any
just
team.
between LeBron and it might have been I don't know what Luca was, but that's the only two other players I can really compare him to is LeBron and Luca. When it comes to the type of talent he has and already the maturity he have in his game,
Mm-hmm.
that's really the only ones I can actually get to because a lot of players they normally are weak somewhere. If they're superior, they're weak somewhere. Excuse me. Like Luca. Luca dominate every part of the game except defense.
He's
LeBron
great, though.
dominates every part of the game, but he when the game is clamping down him on the end, he struggles. See, that's why he gets. That's why a lot of people. That's why you get critique about that when he keeps saying why he's so passive. He's passive because it's welling down on him. If he's not already clicking, if he's not already on fire, then he kind of crumbles up a little bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody has like some type of weakness in their game. Like Kobe, if you start to clamp down on him, what he'll do is he'll take a bad shot, but he'll make it or not. But then he said himself he didn't have the greatest court vision. That's why he was a gunner versus just let me just pass it to Fisher all the time or something like that. Just if you're not waiting for the ball or if you're not in like his peripheral vision, he's going to shoot it. He's just going to shoot it.
Yeah, yeah, and he's got a deadly shot because I saw some of the reels of Cooper Flagg, and listen, man, he wasn't afraid to go into that paint and take it to that other team right in the middle. He there was no scarceness of the way Cooper Flagg used to go into that paint because he would go in and he sky dunk. I mean, I saw this youngster go in there and just dunk on several teams a few times. So it was really impressive to see his basketball IQ and his acumen be able to step up each game to match the intensity of each opponent, whether they were playing any team. It doesn't matter which team they were playing. His intensity level always seemed to grow a step above the opponent's intensity level in a lot of the games that they played in. And I really personally, Isaiah, let me ask you this. Do you see any weaknesses in his game?
No, because his team played so well together, and we seen that when we, covered the draft last week. DC, for the last at least 6 to 7 years, I have not seen a team that three people from that team move off in the top 15. There was three people get drafted out of Duke's team in the top 15. The top 15 picks. They had three people to get drafted, man. And you would think that would happen when a team won the national championship. Florida won the national championship, but Florida didn't have three people get drafted on draft night. You know,
True.
so it was difficult to see where his game lies because he always had this extra added guys who played so well. So you couldn't really see where a game is weak, where his game was weak, because he had so much, talent around him. So they played so well collectively as a team. So and of course the NBA scouts, they recognize that because three people got drafted on draft night. So man, it's going to be great to see him get into the professional realm and see how he can play with all of the professionals that's going to be running and gunning the whole night. Because if you just look at him on a collegiate level, he was playing out of the stratosphere. So I don't see any weakness in his game right now, man. And it's difficult to kind of pinpoint anything that's like marginalized in his game, man, because he just got a great shot. He dribbles well. He distributes the ball well. So he's an all around good player, man.
And he's a
Yeah,
6'9" player.
that's what I
So
see in him.
once he packs on a
Oh
few
man, six
extra
nine magnetic.
pounds,
Yes.
once he packs on a
Yep.
few extra pounds
Yeah,
of
the
length,
LeBron T Mac height.
yes. And Magic Johnson, I
Yep.
think, was 6'9" as well, or somewhere in that range of 6'9" to
Imagine was
six
6'9".
ten. And Magic was considered a big guard.
I
I mean,
think Patrick Ewing was, yeah, he
but
was
Cooper
6'9",
Flag was
6'10" or
able to
something
be able
like
to
that.
play power forward and forward, or either even center, playing
Hmm.
in a smaller package for Jason Kidd. I mean, Jason Kidd is licking his chops over this one, man, because I know once that team can get Kyrie back, and Kyrie is that floor general, and if Anthony Davis can stay halfway healthy, I mean, throughout the season, it's a long season in the NBA. But if he could stay somewhat healthy and they can get that team on the floor with that personnel, I
Yeah.
think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Although, you got Houston and OKC is the king of the crop. They're the cream of the
Hmm.
crop, should I say?
You
Because
remember Anthony Davis still got a chip on his shoulder for being traded, so he's going to be
absolutely.
all out
Yeah,
next
but
year.
we will see because Anthony Davis, he's not that type of dog though. Because like the very first game he had against the Lakers, I thought he was going to dominate, and he only had like 9 points, and he wasn't even really trying. He wasn't in foul trouble or nothing. So it's just
Yeah,
going.
but allegedly he
I
had
guess
a
he has to be his own self motivated
stomach.
because yeah.
Allegedly
But
he had a
then the very
stomach
next
ache.
game he dropped
You
30.
know,
The very next game he
that
dropped
means
he had almost a 30. He
well,
almost
that
had a
don't mean
30 triple
nothing.
double.
He probably
The very next
whatever was
game.
bothering his stomach, he probably dropped and got rid of it. So you know that. He had to get
Very
close to the.
convenient.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very convenient.
let's talk a little bit about the number 2 pick. So the number 2 pick in the draft, a kid by the name of Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. Looking at some of his highlights, the Spurs made a really power move by picking up Dylan Harper. There was a projection that Ace Bailey, who played at Rutgers, him and Dylan Harper were teammates together at Rutgers, and a lot of experts had Ace Bailey going number 2. Ace Bailey ended up falling to number 5, which he ended up with Utah. The Utah Jazz
Yeah.
drafted Ace Bailey.
Yeah, they need something over there. They
True,
need something over
they
there.
need a lot of help because since Donovan Mitchell left,
After they got rid of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert,
Donovan
after they
Mitchell got
lost
out of
them,
there. That pretty
they've
much
been bottle
killed the
feeding after
team
that
on
since then.
them. They didn't have that supporting cast that could step up to the plate and be able to take that team to levels that it needed to go to. You think Dylan Harper is going to fare well, Najee, with Wimby and the rest of the crew on that Spurs team?
Well, you know what? Just like you were just saying, every team needs like a third person. I
Yeah.
mean, that might be their third person.
Yep.
They have Wemby already.
Very
You
well
have
be.
D Fox. They got Chris Paul too, but he is 40 going on to this 22nd season. No,
Excuse me.
21st season because he got drafted in '05. So yeah, he's going to his 21st season. So yeah, so I mean, he could be that old person on the team that can give people on the team different type of perspective in the game, where to slow it down at, and just that old head leader on the team. And then you have the rookie. Then you have D Fox, and then you have Wimby, which is going into his third season now. He's going to his third season now. So now they can actually build on it. They can build on from there.
So it looks like the projection. True. So they got Harrison Barnes too. Where do you think Harrison Barnes fit into that fold, Najee?
Oh, Harrison Barnes. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be the top three player, but he can be who I can use from there. He can be that other old head on the team, but that's still very mobile on the team for you that can still cash in. Like Sean Livingston with the Warriors, when he was basically in his last years in the league, he could be Sean Livingston on the team. He could be a reliable mid range shooter and the better defender, the guard, the better team, the better opponent on the other team. He could be that guy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely,
They
absolutely.
need that dirty that utility guy to work. He could be that utility guy.
And you always need a good utility guy. If you don't have a good utility guy, you always run the risk of the other team once they start imposing their will at all force. I mean, it's hard if you don't have that utility guy
Hmm.
to come in and slow down the flow a little bit. I think from my experience of watching basketball, Isaiah. So the Spurs dominated in the 90s and in going into 2000s, Greg Popovich, Coach Pop, he's no longer coaching on the court. He's up in the
Yeah.
front office
Yeah.
now.
He's in
Hmm.
the front
You
office
know, you
now.
had your Tim Duncans, you had your Manu Ginobili's, you had your Tony Parkers. Um, you
Hmm.
know, they had a lot of good players come up through there. You know,
Yeah.
but do you think this team can rise up to the level to meet that demand, or should I say meet that challenge to be able to
Yeah.
be competitive in the Western Conference? Because if I look at 3 teams right now. If I'm gonna make a projection,
Hmm.
I'm looking at 3 teams. I'm looking at the Houston Rockets. Well,
Give me the three teams.
OKC is number
Okay,
one. I'm looking at Houston
of
Rockets
course.
of being super
Hmm.
competitive. I wouldn't even count
And who
Denver
else?
because I think Denver is going to be okay,
Mm.
even
They could be a wild card.
they can be a wild card, correct. And then the
Hmm.
Lakers have made some moves, and I think they're going to make some moves to be able to get back into that hunt of things. Do you think the Spurs will ever be able to rise above to get to somewhere what of a decent level where they can be consistent winners like they were back in those days that they dominated, you know? I mean, what do you think?
Those three guys that we mentioned they need some maturity before they can you can talk about a dynasty. Because you talk about Wemby, this is what 21, 22. You got this new dude you talking about, he's like 19, 20, and then you have D Fox is probably the oldest out of them. He's probably about 27, 28. So yeah, they need the right structure, make sure they have the type of players that had the same mentality on the team
Mm-hmm.
for you. As a matter of fact, we can use Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes could be the freaking Alex Caruso for them. He just helped win the championship this year.
Alex
He could,
Caruso was a
exactly how
big
he can
hit.
be. That could work out that way. But I
Yeah.
who is they coach? I don't even know if they coach is gonna be great unless he was probably the coach under he was probably underneath Popovich like how Eric Spoelstra was for Pat Riley
They might bring him up.
It
because
was
they
Keep
need
bringing
right
somebody
coaching.
up.
They need
Mitch
right
Johnson.
coaching.
Now,
Mitch Johnson. I think Mitch Johnson
you know
was
what'll be a good thing? What will be a good thing is if Pop moved up. And if he was bringing somebody behind him, like Najee just said, how Pat Riley did Eric Spoelstra, I would constantly be showing film of those glory days and see the culture of what they had going on when they were winning. So, that's the easiest way to instill that in these young players. If you're talking about getting these young guys to gel together, well, you got to show them the culture of that winning. You got to show them the product that they had on the court and the success that they had. So once you put that together and show them this is the kind of culture we had when we were winning, this is what we did, this is how the team was structured, and this is how we got to carry on with our business. Is when they do that, they can help but to go forward and be successful because once you display all the cultural type of deal with them, it's just a matter of working it on the court. Then practice got to be relentless. You got to get guys in shape. You got to get guys to buy
I
into your
agree.
program. So that's the part that I'll be displaying if I was their head coach, and it should be pretty fairly easy if he just show them guys the film, say this is how it's going to be done, and the ones who don't buy in, out of here. Just get rid of them
Hey
because it's
Rob.
easier to get these guys to buy in when you show them just the way it should be.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah.
So right now, if you look at the Western Conference in order, it's the Thunder, the Rockets, the Lakers, the Nuggets, and the Clippers. And then you have somewhere down toward. I mean, if you think about Sacramento because they're in it, and uh, you never know. I don't know. I haven't
No,
followed
no,
Sacramento
they
for
lost
the
D
last
Fox.
several
They lost
years.
D Fox to the Spurs. That was their second best player.
That's crazy.
Now,
That's crazy.
if you were talking about the Warriors, if you give me, you can put the Warriors in there still. But the thing
Put them in the
is, the
Warriors,
way
but
we can't be even concrete on what you're saying outside of those three teams anyway, which is which will be the Rockets, the Thunder, and Nuggets. Because outside of them three, or even the Lakers, I can say that four. Because outside of them, a lot of these teams are doing all these backdoor trades now. It's crazy. Like they just showed that Lonzo Ball just got traded to what? Well, he just went to the Cavs, right? So they
I
doing
saw the
it's a lot of
trade.
stuff that there's a lot of stuff going on right now that we can't even be so for sure for next season already because they doing so many different they doing trades during the finals. The finals is
Yeah.
supposed to be something that's the only thing we're focusing on in the NBA. And we're talking about trades and signing is right at the moment. So that's crazy. Like these guys not even taking a break right now. They're getting it in right now. They was doing trade before the draft.
Yeah, I mean that's something to think about. I mean, if you think about the whole bigger picture of how these general managers and how they're wheeling and dealing trying to get players to from different levels to be able to come to certain teams, it doesn't guarantee a winning culture, but it does enhance their chances to become a winner depending on the type of if the players can get together and they can gel and the coach can coach them right, I mean, who knows what could happen, right? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of with that, you know. So it looks
Yeah.
like the 76ers got BJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. He is a pretty good player as
They need
well.
anything over there.
Yeah, the 76ers need help. Looks like he's a guard, 6'4", 193 pounds. He did really well in college. He's a very dominant player. So hopefully with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and they can get VJ Edgecrumb in there, and he will be able to come in and make an instant impact. That would be a big deal for the 76ers, I would think, you know, because one thing is about it is a rookie.
So what the 76ers need to do, they're gonna have to let one of them guys go. Is either they're gonna let go one of the better players like Tyrese Maxey, so they can see what they can, because his stock is probably gonna be as high right now while they still got Embiid. So if you don't want to get rid of Embiid, you gotta probably get rid of Tyrese Maxey to get something else on your team. Whether if you want a wider bench or if you just want a player, because them having another young talent is not going to help them. My opinion, because Embiid's supposed to be the top dog. Boom. Then you got Maxi. Maxi's in his mid 20s. Boom. Then you got Paul George. Tell me where there's room for a young player to grow when you have the older heads taking over. You cannot grow as a player if you sit. That's why I keep stressing about Bronny. There's no young player that can grow as a man in any sport if the other heads are taking their time. This is right here. It's his window to grow as a player. When you have about 5 to 6 years in any sport, that's normally what the player you're going to be. You're not going to get better after your 6 year, because it's not. It's only so many years that you have in your career
Yeah.
anyway, unless you're like a freaking icon. After 5 6 years, that's it. You're not going to get any better. Something can sharpen, but you're not going to be the best 3 point shooter after 7 years. I'm like, no, it'll take you that long to be a great shooter. It's not going to happen that way. You will be a better shooter. Like you can, if you average 35%, now you're at 38. Yes, but you're not going to go from 38 to 52. It's not going to happen that way.
So Isaiah, I have a
You
question for
know,
you.
sometimes that could be different. I believe that you have to be put in a certain system. You know,
That's a good point.
sometimes
That's
you
what I'm
think a
saying.
kid ain't that
He
Very
can't
good.
be
good, but if you
behind
put
them
him in a
though.
different
Yeah.
system, yeah, but if you put a
Hmm.
guy in a different system, I mean, and if the guy got a great work ethic, he can become a better shooter. I
Hmm.
remember the guy who couldn't shoot threes, but you put that joke in the gym and just let him go in there and practice, he could become a good 3 point shooter. But he
Absolutely.
got to work at it. If he gonna be a guy who just gonna go through practice and go home every day, fine. You gonna get your behind cut. But if you go in there and put that extra time in, you there at the gym before everybody get there, and you out there when everybody leaves, there's nowhere in the world you can't get better at it if you practice that. I don't give a crap if you freaking 30 years old and you've been in the league for 10 years already. You will get better if you go in there and put the work in. But if you ain't willing to put the work in, you're not gonna get better at it. Of course not.
And you could always tell the players that don't put the work in. Usually it always manifests itself. You see these players, they come into these games, and that doesn't matter which sport. They struggle. They struggle because they
Yep.
don't stay for that extra time.
No, they
They
don't.
don't go to the film room. They don't hit
Yep.
that weight room. And the players who do, they tend to fare better
They got an
because
edge. They
LeBron
get the
LeBron
edge.
James is a
Yep.
perfect living example of that. That
Yes,
brother
he
is
is.
40 something years old, and he's in the best shape that I've seen him in, even when he was playing at the highest level 5 years ago, 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he still play at that highest level because he trains his body properly. He eats
Hmm.
right, and he puts in that time. I mean, he don't just say, "Look,
Yeah.
I made it. I don't
Of
need to
course.
do nothing else. I just show up to the
Yeah.
game, and if it and do show my talents, and if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't." See, he doesn't think like that, and I think you hit it right on the head, Isaiah. That work ethic, it has to be everything. No, I have an additional
Yep.
question for you, Isaiah. Do you think a rookie, let's just say any of these rookies that got drafted, do you think the veterans are open to spending time with these rookies, or the veterans are like, look, he on his own, he done got drafted, I ain't showing him nothing? Because if you look at any workplace, it's a lot of times people don't want to share with you some things that can help you. Some people do, but a lot of people don't because they think you're going to push them out of the way. Do you think that's possible
Hmm.
at the NBA level?
Well, it happens every day. It happens in everyday life where you got an intimidated freaking old fart that don't want to help each other. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if I was a team owner or a head coach, and I realized that's the attitude one of my veterans have, I'll have to call them in the office, bro, and sit him down because that's a selfishness in that guy's mentality who do not want to help. Man, if you want to be great at something, especially if it's a team sport, you want
Mm-hmm.
everybody to be the best that they can be. You want everybody to play at a high level. That's only going to enhance your own team if you get that guy to be the best he can be. You know, one thing about guys who's not selfish, they want talented players on their team.
Yeah.
I remember when Kobe was in an interview, he was paired with Shaq because he knew Shaq was lazy, man. He knew Shaq if he lose 30 pounds, he'll be better because he would get up and
He
down the
said
court.
that.
He can block, he can do all of these things. So why would you not want
Mhm.
to help the young person that's coming in? Because it's going to only make your team better. And as he make that team better, it's the ultimate goal is to win the championship. So if you got a guy not helping, you hurting your own self, man. Think about that. You actually hurting your own self. Why do you think guys bounce around from team to team? They bounce around from team to team looking for a championship or they're chasing down a bag. So if you got a guy who you don't want to help, you hurt your own self, man. You just think about that. You hurt your own team. So why would you have that attitude? And
A lot of
that's
these
my
players don't
absolute
think
take
team though.
on it.
A lot of these players think individualism. They don't think about a team. They could care less. I mean, I
Well,
could
those are the
throw
ones that don't have rings on their finger,
roses at
DC.
you right now.
If you want to think you're going to do it on your own, that's not going to happen. We're talking about at least three superstars you have to be even a top contender.
Yep.
And if you don't want to help your colleague, your freaking teammate, where you think you're going? Nowhere. You'll be watching the games with us. You will be out fishing.
Especially
You'll
when you
out be
got a
shopping for
really
your kids'
talented rookie coming
school
in, right?
clothes next year. Yep.
So here's the deal too. Also, it looks like the Hornets was next in line at number 4, and they drafted Con Knuckle. And I honestly hope I pronounced this young
That's it,
man's
right?
name
Mhm.
properly. It's hard for me, and I have to go to Google to get help with it because if it's a name that I can't just put it together, I try to always make sure I put the right name out there. Um, this kid is talented as well. He's got a lot of talent. He played at Duke, so he was on the same team as Cooper Flagg.
Another
So
Duke player.
yeah, and he's a guard
That's
and
what
a
I was
forward. He's
saying.
6'7", two
About three
seventeen.
people was drafted by Duke in the top 15.
Yeah,
And
Duke
that's
might
amazing.
set a record this year at how many players win in the first
Yep.
round. I mean, technically, to me, it's top
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Yep.
So, what do you think, Najee, that Charlotte needs to be better?
They need a lot, man. They need a playmaker. They got Lamelo already. Lamelo, he's a decent scorer. He can rebound the ball decent, also pretty well. They need a lot. They need a bench. They need a person off the bench, like a six man. They have a center. He's okay. He don't really score, but he doesn't defend either. So he's really just a person that hustle and get the board for you. They need a lot, to be honest. They need at least like four pieces. They need a because need a point
Upgrade.
guard, shooting guard.
They need a
They
whole
need a power forward, and they need somebody off the bench. Yeah, they need a lot. That this I don't honestly I don't even know what it takes to make them more successful. That's why Jordan jumped out off ship. They just need so much, man. The coach is okay. They probably need to replace him too though because but also Lamelo cannot stay healthy. Lamelo's hurt every season. It's kind of hard for you to ask anybody to be successful when your best player is hurt every season. I'm talking about at least twice a season. He's always have ankle issues for some reason. I don't know if it's his shoes or what, but he's
yeah,
always
but
hurt. If your best player is going to miss 20, 25 games per season, it's kind of hard for you to be successful, man.
Hey,
Like,
DC, we were speaking about that last week. Remember, we were talking about the culture of these young players getting these injuries with their Achilles, with their ankles. Everything is always bothering their feet. And what we discovered is most of these kids don't get their ankles wrapped in tape like we used to do, and the other players from the in the 90s.
right.
They didn't get these injuries because they had their ankles taped up. Their ankles was always taped. So they didn't have the problems with the ankles.
And that's a good point. That's a very well stated point because I mean, I just think it's the athletic ability too is like five notches up from the 80s and the 90s with what these young kids have now versus what they used to have, and their ability to be able to
That could
jump
be it too.
higher, their
It wasn't
ability
that
to
many
be
high
able to
flyers at that
run
time.
faster.
You had maybe one or two
Yeah,
on each team, maybe one or two, but now you have at least five or six of each team now. So
thank you,
that could
thank
be
you.
it also.
Exactly. So when you
Because
put
and how many times we say we never seen somebody at 6'10", 6'11" be able to move like this? Well, guess what? That's
yep,
why they stay hurt because their body's
absolutely.
probably supposed to not move like that.
I mean, they bang harder, they run faster, they jump higher, and that puts a lot of strain on a person's body. No matter how well a shape you're in, something
Hmm.
potentially could happen, especially if you don't stretch before these games and you don't really
Yeah, I was just getting ready to make that
if you
point,
don't
DC.
stretch
That was the next
before
point.
these games and you go out
Yep.
there and go through the motions,
Mm-hmm.
and you just, oh, look, I'm gonna
Yes.
look like I'm stretching, but I ain't stretching
You're
my
gonna pull
hamstring, I'm
something.
stretching my
Yep.
thigh, my calf
Nah.
muscles, and I'm not
Yeah.
doing the proper calisthenics before these games. You can pull something so easy,
Mm-hmm.
man. It's crazy. It's
Yep.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that a lot of teams probably need to address with their department, which their training department, and which department
Yeah.
deals specifically with
Yeah.
players training and players health and things of that sort, because these teams are so well run
Mm-hmm.
now, they have a specialist for every player, based on that player's size and and
Yeah,
everything
but
else.
some of them miss it. Some of them miss it, DC. Some of them don't get in there as a team. Remember, we used to stretch before we started anything. When football, we should stretch first. I mean, you're stretching your quads, your arm, your shoulder. Quarterbacks definitely had to stretch to keep their arm loose, But I don't see these guys doing it that much. They would do their hamstrings, the calf muscles, everything, man. They would do the feet and the ankles too, where they got the next uh, player in front of you would turn around and you would take your foot and you would bend it front and
I remember
backwards so
those
it'll
days, man.
stretch out that
We
Achilles
played
too.
little league
And I
football.
don't see any of these people doing that anymore, man. And that's the reason why I think they sustaining these injuries.
That could be a potential possibility. I would never rule it out. It's always a potential possibility. Looks like the city of Charlotte got problems, man. They got big problems. The Charlotte Hornets, from what Najee explained, is not that good. And then you have
Hmm.
you have the football team as well. I mean, they're
Hmm.
struggling as well. So the city of Charlotte got a lot of work to do. Trust me, they do.
Yeah.
Let's move and Knipple is how you pronounce it. I looked it up. I want to make sure that I pronounce this young man's name properly. So I wanted to make sure I covered that before we move on to the next. We got Ace Bailey to the Jazz. Ace Bailey was a stud, man. He could play.
That
He
was a
could.
great pickup. That was a great
Yeah,
pickup.
that's a good pickup for the Jazz because he could help the Jazz. Since Ace Bailey plays forward, he could help the Jazz. He's 6'8". Come on, he's 6'8", 203. Let's just say he
Hmm.
adds 15 more pounds of muscle onto his frame. You got shit. You
Yeah,
got
at 6'8", he
strong.
probably had to be about at least about 230, two
I
thirty
would say
five at
230.
least.
Yeah,
Because they want
he
because
in
at
there.
his
He has the
height
endurance.
they can push him around a little bit.
Yeah, because he's
His
he's
height
six
and his
eight.
position, yeah.
And you get players as skilled as some of the players are, and they box you out and they back up into you. I mean, you have to be in great shape. That goes the same for Wimby. Wimby needs to put on weight. I mean, 7 foot. What is he? 7'2"? or 7'4".
It's about 7'4". Yeah.
Yeah, and he only weighs
Mm.
200 and something pounds or 210, whatever. I mean, whatever his weight is, because I don't have his
Yes.
weight in front of me.
Yeah.
But that he's definitely gonna have to put on more weight at the NBA level, because let me tell you something. You got Joel Embiid and you got guys like that they'll bring it to you, especially if they know you light it in the rear like he is. They'll put that thing on you,
Hmm.
man. So you got to be careful with that. So Ace Bailey is going
It's
to.
because as skinny as Yao Ming was still over 300 pounds.
Yes,
And
yes,
a lot of people didn't know that. I was actually shocked when I knew that when I saw that. I was like, he was 300 as skinny as he was, because he was about 7'5", 7'6", but he was still over 300 pounds. He wasn't too far away from
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He was
yeah, like
because he was taller
315,
than Shaq.
320.
Yeah, I mean, he was taller than Shaq was.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
about he was yeah, he was about seven
yeah.
five,
Shaq was 7'2", right?
about 7'1", 7'1".
7'1" or
Yeah,
7'2". Yeah,
yeah, and Yamin was taller than him.
yeah. Shaq done got old and gray, man. I mean, he big as a house. Him and Boy George, Charles Barkley on
Yeah,
TNT.
Hmm.
Them brothers eating good, man. They eating that good them steaks and that good chicken and everything else they put in front of them, because them guys travel to each city to cover these games. They eating the best
yeah.
food that you could eat.
But
You can't tell me they ain't trying the best restaurants in the city.
There you
yeah,
go.
but
Hmm.
Barkley is on that stuff, man. He's getting that shot.
Oh,
He
he
allegedly
already, yeah,
he's getting that shot.
he
He
already,
said
no,
that.
he mentioned himself that he's
Yeah,
taking something. It's not
Yeah,
Ozempic, but it's
he's
something
taking
else.
that shot.
Yeah.
It was something,
Hmm.
one of those things. He getting shot. You can get shot in the
Another
arm or
weight
shot in
loss
the
drug.
butt. Yeah,
as
yeah.
long as it's something that he trusts will help him, and it's not anything that's going to be adversarial to
You can cheat with that, DC. You don't have to work out as much.
right.
You take that shot. You don't have to grind and work out as much. You'll lose weight. Allegedly it was supposed to be just for a person who had health issues like diabetes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now it becomes such a thing where they're using it to lose weight,
Yep.
because most of the time when you lose weight, your diabetes will go, or either it'll be at bay. But now they got this drug that they finally got the insurance to cover, and more people are on it now because it's inexpensive for them to do it, and ultimately it saved
Yeah.
the insurance money if you can get the guy off of those drugs that he was on. So it's good for the insurance company to cover it. So if they was paying for medication every month, they no longer have to pay for that medication because they already lost the weight, and you can kind of channel yourself off those diabetes or high blood pressure medications. So that's why a lot of people are taking that Ozempic and the rest of the stuff that's out there now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So let's move on to the next prospect, Trey Johnson, out of the University of Texas, guard, 6'5", 190 pounds. Looks like the Washington Wizards picked him up. Najee, tell me a little bit about what
Ooh.
you think about the Wizards' need and this pickup from the Wizards. Would he be able to help them? I remember John Wall and Gilbert Arenas and all them guys played for the Wizards back
Hmm.
in the day. You know, you think this guy could
Yeah.
fit in Washington?
They need some youth because they got rid of some of their youth on their youth and better players on their team. They got a lot of old heads on that team, like Marcus Smart, um, uh, Middleton from the Bucks. They got some old players over there. They just got rid of Jordan Poole, so
Okay.
they need some youth over there and develop him. Now at least it's better for him now because you got somebody like Jordan Poole that's not really like um he's a pretty good player, but he's not mature. He doesn't have a mature mindset. So if they get him out of there, that's what they probably did too on purpose. They got him out of there, then brought the young cat in, and they got nothing but old heads on that team now. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna have the old heads to teach them a better mindset of the game versus having somebody else that's younger and just not mature. I'm not gonna say stupid, but he's just not a mature player.
Right.
Jordan Poole is not mature. He helped the Warriors get a ring, but he himself is not a mature player. So for you to have nothing but mature players like Middleton and Marcus Smart and all them other players over there that's been in the league and they know better, that it's good to have that type of mindset in their form. It's a great atmosphere for young players like that.
Yeah, it looks like another name that I'm looking at here that was on is this on the Wizards is Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon? He's been in the league. He's very
Yeah, he's still
well.
for the Bucks too. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
I
So
think the
he'll
Hawks
be able to.
too. Yeah, yeah, he's pretty decent. He's nice.
So let's move on to this next player. Let's talk a little bit about Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. One of the best players to come out of Oklahoma since my man who played for the Clippers, Isaiah.
Ooh,
Uh,
the
let's
Clippers. Ooh,
his name just jumped my mind. Let's click. Let's XOU. I have to go to the internet sometimes because my old mind is getting there. So
Yeah, you already displayed that a couple
Blake
times
Griffin.
today.
I have no idea
Yeah,
why I could
like
not remember Blake
yeah.
Griffin. I lived in
If you'd have
Lawton.
just described him, I'd have remember who you were talking
oh
about.
yeah,
Right out
All
of
you had to
yeah.
do
That's
Lawton.
is put
all
a
you had to
curly
do.
head.
I would have got
All
that
you
for
had to do
you.
is
That
describe
was
him.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blake Griffin. So he's the next best thing to come out of Oklahoma, I think, since Blake Griffin, Jeremiah Fears. You know, 6'3",
Mhm.
180 guard, fast, very high basketball IQ from what I saw. Some of the highlights and saw what some of the things he could do on the court. I think he would
Mhm.
probably be able to come in and make an instant impact. On the fact that if you think about it. So Najee, what do you think he's going to do for
So if that means he's going
the
for the you said for the
Pelicans?
Clippers, right?
The
Oh,
Pelicans.
the Pelicans. Oh, the
Yeah, it
Pelicans.
looks
See
like
what the
Oh
he
yeah,
fellas.
got
Pelicans need
drafted by the
everything.
Pelicans.
They need everything too.
Yeah.
And Pelicans, they definitely need some. They need some.
They
They need
probably
something
gonna build around
because
him, DC.
Yeah, I
Zion,
think
no, they still got Zion. They still got Zion over there. But the thing is, he stays hurt too. He can't manage his weight for anything. I don't care what they got going on with him. But you also have a couple players that just came off of injury too. So it's really hard to point what exactly what they need because they end up getting I think Devontae Moore, I think that's his name is. They got him from the Hawks, but he blew his Achilles. So
Yeah.
he already
The
missed pretty much
Pelicans
the
just
whole
need
season
reliable
already.
players, man.
So that would be
They
good.
just they,
Yeah.
they just need
So
reliable
they might have to just
players for
clean house and
everything
just
to
try
turn
to
around.
rebuild again.
hmm
hmm
Yep.
But the thing is, it's not
Everybody's
like
always hurt
they've
over
had
there.
old players on their team. They never had old players on their team. They
Yep.
had Brandon Ingram, they had Zion, they had Lonzo Ball. They all were young. They all still under 30 right now, even to this day, and they stay
Hurt.
hurt.
Hurt. Mm-hmm.
They've had a lot of young players on that team. Kuzma was over there too, if I'm not mistaken. But he done went to the Wizards, Lakers, and everybody else since then.
So Najee, you think Zion Williamson gonna ever get his weight under control? Is he gonna ever get it together with that? Because this reverts back to what
It's
I
hard
said
to
with
say,
him. Is he gonna
man.
put in the time
Well,
to
DC, we
prove?
got a remedy for that, man. We need to send him a pellet of that Ozempic, man.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna recommend it to him, but I think just
I
strength
would,
training it
you
easily.
know, you got guys who let these guys watch the commercial, man, because if you are battling those health issues, and then the insurance companies are paying for that stuff too right now. So he's fighting because apparently he can't push away from that table where the ribs and those pork chops and those hamburgers are.
At
So
all.
he needs some help,
Yeah.
man.
But he's in, but he's in yeah, but he's over there with that gumbo and all that other good
Oh,
food.
eating
Oh
That's why he
man,
can't keep
yeah,
away
he's
from
over
it.
there. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. They
yep,
got a lot of good seasoned food over there. He got
everything
the money,
over
so
there.
he's just gonna order
Yeah,
exactly what he wants. It really just depends on his drive and what he really wants in his career because he's getting older. It's what his sixth or seventh season. And guess what? It's still not changing. Just like when I told you, really, players don't get better out after their sixth season. Like they can, you can, like I said, you can sharpen a skill, but you don't go from like bottom feeding of that particular skill to the top. You're not gonna go from Shaq and threes to Ray Allen. You're not gonna do that, but you can be a respectable 3-point shooter or whatever. But the thing is, he's Zion hasn't even been in the playoffs, and he's been in the league that long because he can't stay healthy. He can't help
Yeah,
his
but
team.
not. It still goes back to what I said earlier. That guy is not dedicated. If you got any
He's
player
not.
that's in profession and he's
Mm-hmm.
overweight and is severely overweight, where is got a stigma on his play and his game. He's not
Mm-hmm.
disciplined, man, and you're not getting any better if you're not disciplined. So the best thing to do for him is to start finding him. Because I remember back in the day, if you came in there at a certain weight, they knew you wasn't going to be an asset to the team. Being overweight, they'll fine you. Remember that,
I
DC?
remember
When
that.
you came in there at a certain weight, they will fine you to get you down to that playing weight
In
that you
basketball.
can contribute to the team. If you hurt and you can't be on that floor and you always going through crisis because of your injury and your weight issues, they will give you a fine or either get ready to cut you, man. And that's what I think they need to start doing to some of these players, because there's nowhere in the world a basketball player should be fat. When you running up and down that court getting
You
cardio
running
in,
that much.
you're overweight.
You running that
No
much.
way.
Like the
Yeah,
fattest sport you
but
should
you
probably
don't
be
get
is
running
baseball because you do nothing but
dioxin
swing and
when you're
sit.
running down that
You're
court.
right.
That's probably the
And
fattest
you
one.
don't see too many. Yeah, and you don't see too many fat baseball players either. But they in condition. They work out. I mean, they do what they supposed to do to stay in shape.
So,
Yeah,
so the opinion I'm gonna give to Zion Williamson, I'm gonna give it the that thing what Charles Barkley said. That man said, if you want to lose weight, the best way to lose weight, anything that you put in your mouth that tastes good, spit it right back out. That's exactly what he said.
hey, look, I'd have a hard time doing that.
Yeah,
I can't spit it out, especially barbecue ribs.
yeah.
You give me
Because
some
some
good
people eat
ribs
just for
and
the
some collard
taste only,
greens.
Najee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just for the taste. Exactly.
some people
Ooh,
eat just for the
I
taste.
can't wait to
That's like,
try it. No, good where you're
yeah,
full. You just like you go to a
yeah,
restaurant, you're full.
yeah,
You can't eat nothing else in
yeah.
your main entree. He was like, oh, we got beef cobbler.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
for real?
oh,
Now he want the beef cobbler.
And the peach
yeah,
cobbler is the one you just have to turn away from. You can't even look at that because you know if you see some peach
Mhm.
cobbler there, you're gonna get some of it. That's just the way it. That's just the way your eyes just it glues down on certain things, and it's hard to really walk away from it, man. You know.
yeah.
And I've seen some overweight players in the league over the last 40 years, but for Zion Williamson to be in this day and age and he can't control his weight, that is very problematic because they have so many ways to get your weight down to where you need to be able to play at the highest level. I mean, you have
Hmm.
trainers, personal
Truly.
trainers, you have some of the best
Yeah,
food because you could afford to
yeah.
buy
And you got the
quality food.
nutritionists can give you the menu and cook it for you too, DC.
Yeah.
These guys got enough money for the nutritionists to come over there and cook everything they need.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They don't have to eat no type of fast food.
And
They can
also,
have
No.
the
they got
they
to
have
eat
the
in
top
moderation
notch
too.
people for them. They're the top
They got to
notch.
also
That's
consume
why
it
I
in
never understood
moderation.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
And you know, a nutritionist will give you the right amount of food. If you ever go to a hospital and you get the food from the hospital, the nutritionists make those meals up for these people, and they only give them enough of what your body
Hmm.
needs to stay in condition. They're gonna give you a small sandwich or a piece of chicken. They're gonna give you some vegetables with no salt on it, and they're gonna give you a little small thing of juice and a little thing of cranberry
Hmm.
juice or milk or something, a skim milk and a little thing of water. They're not gonna give you all that stuff that your body absolutely do not need. And so that's what he
Yeah.
needs. He needs
You should
something
not
like
be
that.
gaining weight in hospital. That's what
You
he's saying.
cannot.
You
You
should
can't
not be
get no
gaining weight in
weight
the
loss.
hospital.
absolutely.
Nope.
Because as human beings, we all have cravings. I mean, I know I have cravings all the time. I mean, sometimes I crave for peanut butter. Sometimes I crave for just
Hmm.
different, really weird stuff that I crave for. And you have to control those cravings because if you don't, you're going to gain weight, especially if you're not as
Of course.
active as you are, especially during the off season. You think about basketball, they have their off season now. Are a lot of these players training or are they just going on vacation
Most of
doing
them
their
don't.
own thing, you know?
Most of them don't. When you're on vacation, you
Right.
relaxing, you not doing that much, and you enjoying everything. You're eating anything you want. You're not getting rest. You're doing all the stuff
Yep.
that you wouldn't normally do during the season. Yeah,
That is so
Drinking and
true.
smoking crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Eating the best of the best and just doing a little bit of everything is what really is crazy about it, you know. So it looks like
But you know what? That's okay. That's
hmm
okay to do that once you off season. But then start to get that thing, under control once the season's getting ready to start. So that's a sign of all we're talking about is discipline at its best. You just
that's
got to be
discipline.
disciplined about it.
You
And
got to
if
be
Yep.
you're
disciplined.
if you can't be disciplined, it's when everything go haywire.
Well,
Your health and
let me
your
tell you a perfect example of an athlete who was Walter Payton. Walter Payton used to go to Arizona every year and run up in those mountains. He used to
oh, he
run
had a
every day,
crazy
every
workout
day, every
regimen,
day
man.
doing it, you
He
know?
was dude. I think most of the running backs now, Henry, I seen Henry training the other day. It was all the things
Oh, the
that
Derrick
Walter
Henry
Payton
stuff
used
is
to do.
crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would run up that hill with a
It's
tire
crazy.
attached to his waist. He would be pulling a rope and all that stuff. He had things tied around his hip and trying to hold him back. It was
Absolutely
all that type of
tired.
stuff. And
His
they got
workout
that
is
from Walter
crazy.
Payton.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
Walter
insane.
They like
Payton
he
did
has
it.
workouts that he
He and
makes
Jerry
sure
Rice
he's off
started doing
balance on
emulating all
purpose
the things
to
that they were
push
doing
people
too.
off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. That is so true. So it looks as though here the we're at the Nets.
It'd be what, 8?
We're at the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, and it looks like we're at number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And the Nets drafted Igor Dimin, who came out of BYU. He's Russian heritage, his nationality, but he played at
Yeah.
BYU. And I looked at some of his highlights, man. It was this kid is off the charts. He's 6'8",
Yeah.
199, so he's gonna have to put some weight on because he could play guard and forward. That's the good thing about him. That at six
Yeah,
eight,
at 6'8", yeah, you could be a tall guard or I mean a guard or like a regular size guard forward. 6'8" is
exactly.
like a perfect height when it comes to wing play.
True, true. And he was a total scorer when he was at BYU. I looked at some of his stats and some of the things that he was doing at BYU. And BYU don't get a lot of media coverage. I mean, a lot of Sports Center. I mean, they don't cover BYU. I would think like they should, because BYU is out west, and a lot of times when BYU and teams out west are playing, the East Coast are not watching it because of the time difference, you know? So if you have a time difference, it's hard to see and hard to get that exposure that you need to be able to see. But for him to go this high at number 8 at 6'8", and he could play both positions, he's going to be a big asset to the Brooklyn Nets, I think. You know. Let's talk a little bit about number 9. Let's go to number 9 pick and the Raptors. Colin Murray Boyles. He played at South Carolina, and this kid can play. His
Uh,
girlfriend plays for the South Carolina Gamecocks
Yeah.
women's
She
team.
played for him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and she is. I'm pretty sure they be playing one on ones.
He's
I think
amazing
she's as
too.
good as she is,
Yeah.
right?
I think he's schooling her, man. Yeah. I think he's
I would
schooling
take
her
the
DC
school
because this
before
is
I
flat out play,
predict.
man. She she's overwhelming. I
She's
seen her
overwhelming.
game, man, and it looked like she been playing against some dudes, bro. And the way she played, because she be taking on women to the hoop, bro, is amazing.
that physical type of play.
Yep. She's one of Don
Yeah,
Staley's
she's
most
a
pivotal players
phenomenal,
in
bro.
the
You
league.
should
I
see
mean,
her now.
she's a stud. I mean, Chloe Kids can
She got
play.
a very
She's not
strong
going to
game. I'm
be.
telling you that right now.
Hmm. And she'll be, to me, I think, I want to say that she's a junior this year, and I'll verify that. But when she comes out, I could see her as easily going anywhere from
In the top
from
10.
1 to 5,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
up in the
Definitely
top
going in the top 10.
echelon of the
Yeah.
because if she's playing against a boyfriend, which I suspect she is, I mean, because this brother can play. I mean, he's going to be able to
You
help.
can see that connection, DC, during the time because you and I covered it together. And she was super happy to see that he got drafted, man. And because it just showed you that bond that they had between the two.
Yes.
And that comes with just like that stuff where you honor somebody's career and about what they're doing as a professional and as a collegiate player when you have so much of that stuff that you involved in
Hmm.
personally, like she is. It just brought her to tears. You should have seen how she just was overwhelmed and she was crying
And
with
her
joy,
feelings were
tears of
available.
absolute joy to see
Her
him get
mother was
drafted,
crying.
man, because
Yep.
she could see herself being in that same boat a year or two from now. It just was amazing to see it.
Well, he'll be sitting in the audience doing the same thing when she gets drafted at
Yeah, right.
WNBA, because we'll be
Absolutely.
covering that draft as well. We're going to cover the WNBA drafts as well when they do come back around. We'll cover it because that's really critical that we follow both leagues and make sure. Colin Murray Boyles, 6'7", 240-pound forward. That's a big boy. I mean, 240 pounds to me is sufficient to be able to bang in that inside like he should. Instead of being
Hmm.
200 pounds, it's got him listed as 240 pounds. You think he's going to be able to help the Raptors, Najee?
The Raptors. What is the position?
He plays forward.
Plays
Straightforward.
forward.
Yeah.
It's gonna be between him and Brandon Ingram. I mean, that would be good. That would be good because now you have it will be that Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown situation
Yeah,
when the guys are
1-2,
not too
right?
far away in height, but they talent also matches it, so they have nice core between them too. That'll be good. That'll be good. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So let's move on to the Rockets. And it looks like the Rockets drafted Kaman Malach. He's out South Sudan, and he's a Sudanese
Yeah.
player. And Sudan has had a lot of great players in the league. I mean, you know,
Great
uh,
players coming in there, man. Yeah.
Manute Bol.
Yeah. That
He
kid
was
was walking
drafted
down
number
the street
one.
with his book bag and they asked him, do he want to play basketball? He was walking down the street with his book bag and he noticed how tall he was. And he asked him, do he want to play basketball? And wow, this guy is getting drafted to the NBA.
Yeah. Let's look like
What
Luau
a story.
Deng, who used to
That's
play
crazy.
for the NBA. He played in the NBA. He's a
Yeah.
Sudanese basketball player, and he went back to Sudan to help, these younger kids who aspire to play basketball.
Developing some great players over there. I watched him during the
Some
Olympics.
really
His
good
team
players
was
in his
is
league.
really competitive.
The
Yep.
international leagues are really, and the countries are really stepping up their game to put out the best NBA players they can put out. Like,
Hmm.
look at France. I mean, France is another perfect example.
Hmm.
And not only France, there's a couple of other countries out there. You got
Germany.
Canada, you got
Germany too.
France,
Yep. Yep.
Germany. I can I can I
Hmm.
can name a few of them, but it looks like this kid is 7'1", 253 pounds. It looks like he was drafted by Houston, but it says that according to this, I guess traded to the Suns. I guess there was a trade somewhere in between that.
That was probably
Hmm.
between
Durant, I
Durant
think
when
Durant ended
Durant
up
came.
leaving the Suns,
Yeah,
yeah, and he ended up with Houston. So I want to say that
because
they
which is
inherited
actually
him.
pretty good for them then because they already have one of the youngest teams in the league, so they don't need another younger player. So let me get a veteran. They already got a good young core, so let me get a veteran. Yeah, he's a very consistent player. He's very efficient, and they can probably put it over the hump that we need. That's a good trade. Then we talking about. And that's the situation they got going on because the Suns had to get younger anyway. For him to be going on 37, you have Booker. Booker's in his mid 30s. I mean mid 20s, late 20s. But then you have Bradley Beal that's in his early 30s also. So they needed to go younger.
Hmm. So I checked the pronunciation of his name because I want to make sure I pronounce names properly. Maluch. Maluch. So if I apologize if I didn't pronounce it even now, but I did look it up to make sure I was trying to pronounce it properly. So it looks like we've covered the top 10 players that was picked in NBA. And, beyond that,
Hmm.
I mean, they had a lot of good players to actually go beyond 10.
Even beyond that 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think from just judging the team here in Miami with the Heat, they just swore they hit a home run with their picks, DC. Remember, they was really ecstatic with the fact that they were able to get that first rounder that they didn't have no inclination that he was even be around when it was their time to pick. And I'm only speaking about the Miami Heat right now.
The kid's name is
And they
Kaspari
was the 20th pick, remember?
Jac- Jaconis. And he's from Lithuania.
Yeah,
He played at University of
yeah,
Illinois. He's a guard forward. He could go either
hmm
way. He's six
yeah.
five, 205.
And
He
dude,
can
he's
double
got some
move,
game too.
guard,
If
slide.
you look at his highlights, if you look at his highlights, you're gonna say, "Wow, this guy got some game." He's cool, man. He's a smooth guy, bro.
Smooth
Absolutely.
operators.
He's a smooth guy. I mean, he can shoot, he can dribble, he can go to the hole, he can distribute the ball nicely. I mean, pass behind his back and all that kind of crap.
Yep. Looks like the Lakers did not get a first round draft, so they ended up trading away their first rounder.
Yeah,
And
They
the
don't
trade.
have drafts.
Yeah,
They never do. That's the
mm-hmm.
reason why. Because they keep getting rid of their drafts to get veteran players. They don't. The Lakers do not like drafting young players because they gonna have to bring them up. Like when they got rid of all those players to get 80, because they didn't. They do not like to have to coach young players. They want
Right.
players that's already got some seasoning on them. They don't like young players.
Absolutely.
There's only so
but
many
that's
young players that
for
got drafted
to
and
me. I think
actually
that's a
became
good and a
somebody on
bad
that team.
situation.
Yeah. Exactly.
It
That's a
is
good
because
and a
that means you
bad
got to
situation,
continue
Najee. You
finding
know,
somebody at a certain age. It is.
you got to finance those older guys.
They
They
they they
already
go
got their money ready
they
for them.
always in
You get
a
a young
yeah
player, you
yeah
get them
because
cheap.
it's always a win now
Yeah,
situation.
it's both ways. Right, and that's exactly what it is. You get a young player, you get him developing. He's cheap, especially if he works out. But then you get an old player who's already polished. He's gonna break the because he's coming in there for a bag. He ain't coming in there to be looking around trying to find out stuff.
Mm.
He want
No,
to
he
get
ain't
his
gonna
money.
mess with you. He ain't messing with you. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
Absolutely.
as long as
So,
LeBron's been with this team now, if he would have retired like any other average player, he would have already have left the Lakers now. But the thing is, since he's extended his career so long in a very consistent way, that's the only reason why it's just even standing this long because AD was not going to be your top guy. So now what they did, they got rid of AD. So he's not going to be a top guy anyway. Let's get rid of you and let's give it to Luca. Luca's only 25 at the time. Now he's 26. So
mhm.
if Luca even care about his career to last long and to also manage his weight, he could give you at least another 10 years from now, which is awesome when you talk about any franchise. Another 10 years with a player that's already cemented what type of player he is awesome.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So we'll close out, but I do have one more topic I want to cover is Big 3 basketball. Isaiah, tell me a little bit about Michael Beasley. I know you did look at some of his game when they were in just the most recent game. Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
how Beasley is impacting the league and how Beasley is actually being Michael Beasley. He played at Kansas State,
He
by the way, and he was a
yeah.
super good
He
player.
played for the Miami Heat twice.
It makes you think he's still
He
going to be
also
in NBA, right? I would think that he still got it in him. I mean, he's got something left, I would say.
It's a couple things that you would want in a player when you a coach in an organization, man, and that's passion. He absolutely have the passion for the game. And I'm gonna tell you flat out, I had no idea he was in enormous shape and he can flat out ball, man. He played the day, and I just could not believe the passion and the intensity he plays with still, man. And the guy is just focused on this game. Now, outside the court, he seemed like he's not all there, but bruh, this guy has got all the talent left in him. I just hadn't seen a guy who was out of basketball, bounce in another league, come back, and then and play as well as he does. And he want to do it, and he want people to believe in him. And he's just got all this. He put sacrifice in to play, and to see how he played today. I don't know why he's not in the NBA because I watched him pass the ball sharp. I
He's not
mean, throwing the
marketable.
ball sharp and he got the fans behind him. People like him. People were cheering for him, and he hit threes. He rebounded. He's got a crazy bank shot, man.
Hmm.
If man, they had him where he was driving to the hole and trying to block him, and his momentum was taking him out of bounds, and he just kissed the glass. Bank shot, and to see him play with that enormous talent, I don't understand why he's not playing in the NBA, man. I mean, other guys, you can see their talent level kind of dropped off, but he played like he played when he was younger. I don't know whether people don't want to deal with his off the field antics, but that court on the court stuff, he's got it still, man. I think somebody going to be making him some phone calls. If they continue to watch his game, they might be willing to deal with stuff. Because I don't know whether he's getting in trouble off the field. I just know he's got some little things that he always saying that's going on in his life. But other than that, basketball wise, he's just on par with anybody who would want a good athlete on their team and a dedicated athlete on his team because I don't see him missing games and stuff like that. I just see a good basketball player, and that's what anybody would want on their team.
Well, Najee
Yep.
just made a valid point. Najee just said that he's not marketable, maybe, to come back to the NBA. I mean, would
He's
you
not
agree, Najee?
marketable. Because
Whatever that
just I
means.
mean, just look at his, because if you look at his, not only his image, but then how he talks and carry himself. They don't need that in the NBA. He's nice. He's still nice because he even tells you stories that he's beating LeBron when he's played with the Heat. That he's beating LeBron in 1-on-1. He demolished him because LeBron's not a 1-on-1 player. But the thing is, his image and the way he carries himself is not what the NBA wants. You see how they try. You see how they tried to kind of nail it into John Morant, and John Morant's nowhere near as bad as Michael Beasley is. Michael Beasley tells you he smoked weed. He's smoking weed doing a little thing they got going on. He has tattoos everywhere. He has dread, and he's always cussing. His
So
game
you
is there,
saying
but
Beasley
he's
is
not
worse than him?
marketable.
Beasley
Yeah,
is worse than
Beasley's
him. You think?
yeah, Beasley's worse than John Morant when it comes to carrying himself, and he's not carrying himself as anything humble or trying to come back in the league. He's coming back. He's walking around and carrying himself as he's a street dude, and that's not
He's
marketable
keeping
in
it real,
any
right?
type
I
of
mean, a lot of
sport.
them love keeping it real. They keep it real. I guess that's what John Morant was trying to do was keep it real at one point when he was dealing with them firearms, brandishing them firearms and
Yeah, I
cussing
guess.
people out.
I gotta pay more close attention to both of their behaviors because I didn't realize it was that deep and severe with him. I just know he been on interviews where he's talking about some of the stuff in his personal life, but when it just come flat out to the game of basketball, he has the talent to be playing in the NBA. And I'm gonna tell you right out now,
Most
DC,
players do.
he's better than at least 60% of the players that's there. I'm telling you. And I'm talking about starters. I ain't talking about nobody who's rubbing on the bench. No, I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about starters.
Hmm.
I watched them play in several games this year. In today's game, I was overwhelmed because I had no idea he still can play like this.
Absolutely. Well,
I
Dwight
mean, his
Howard's another one
IQ
that
of the
came back
basketball,
to the
knowing what
NBA.
players are. I mean, that's what any player, I mean, coach want for a basketball player, and he has it. So it is really, really sad for a player with that much talent to not be doing something that he actually loved. Because if he didn't love this game, he would be sitting somewhere chilling, man. This guy is in enormous shape. He plays well. He's got the passion for it. What else you want? What else? It is nothing else. But when you have stuff that's in your personal life, it can tarnish the things that you got going on the basketball court, and that's sad,
Absolutely.
man. Because this guy plays the game of basketball at a high level still.
Great.
I've seen it.
Well,
Yeah,
like I just said, Dwight Howard, it's several players in the big three that could come back to the NBA. I mean, Michael Beasley is one of them. I believe Dwight Howard could still compete in the NBA at
he
even though
played today.
yeah, he even though
He played
he's
today
a little
also.
bit he's aged and everything, he's still I think he's still in the conditioning to
Yep.
be able to play at that level. I do
Hmm.
believe. So I'm gonna start paying closer attention, and we'll start covering the big three regularly because we want to make
Yeah.
sure that we get.
Yeah.
I mean,
We have to DC
let me just
because
name one
I
again. Joe
yeah,
Johnson, who plays for Detroit, he's hosting Nightcap over with Shay and
yeah,
Ocho. So he's another really good player that can play at the level that Joe Johnson could even go back to the NBA, I believe, and play as well. So anyway, we had a wonderful show talking about the recap of the NBA draft, and
hmm,
I have my expert Najee, and I got my guy Isaiah, because Isaiah to me reminds me a lot of the just the reasonability behind the reality of things. It's not necessarily so much based on stats, but it's based on reality and what's realistic and what's not realistic. So that's where I'll say Isaiah is an expert at for sure. And me, I just fall somewhere in the middle. I don't know where I fall, but I fall somewhere, hopefully in the middle. As a moderator, hopefully, because I'm not no expert. So, anyway, we thank you for joining this show. We live stream today. We'll be live streaming again. We're going to keep it coming. Going to keep this good topic of conversation coming at every level. We'll be covering WNBA. We'll be covering Big Three, but NFL opens up their camps next month in July, so it's going to be a lot of activity on this show. We'll be talking a little bit about NFL, the camps, the summer camps. We'll be talking about high school summer camps in football, and we're going to cover a lot of other things as well. So hockey, like I say, I was telling you earlier, I met Sam, so we're going to be doing some hockey
yeah,
and talking a little bit about
yeah.
that. You, the viewer, thank you for joining us. We want you to subscribe. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Keep hitting that like button over at Facebook. Hit that like button over at YouTube, and hit that like button over at Instagram. And our website, www.dcstewartpodcast.com, and go over there, and it's a lot to see, a lot of good content over there we'll be covering as well, and it's a major
Yeah.
update coming over there as well. So I'll have Isaiah close this thing out, and we'll talk a little bit later. So what you got, Isaiah?
Well, I just want to say how grateful we are to have Najee back. We covered the draft last week and he wasn't here, and it felt like we were missing a great piece of the puzzle, in which we were, because this basketball players was coming into the league, signing that dotted line, becoming millionaires, and us, United DC, we were so elated to see these guys happy and have their family members enjoying those special moments, because these are times where you would absolutely never forget. And of course, Nadia wasn't here to enjoy it with us, because all of us have that same mind frame when we see people enhancing their life. And that's what it's all about, man. You talking about generational wealth. that's going to be embarking on these young men life and the change of where you can get your family members out of poverty or either just a whole total different lifestyle. And then for you to be able to get to that life and then help somebody else. That's what it's all about, man. That's what I think giving is all about. And service is all about is to helping somebody to get somebody out of a situation where they were in. I mean, it has to be financial. It could be some just good word of encouragement where you can tell somebody that's what it's really all about. And that's what we're doing on this show, man. We trying to entertain folk. We're doing something that we absolutely adore. We're doing it with is a beautiful thing because here we are, it's family and doing it together, man. And I think more people need to expose themselves to that type of relationship when you're helping each other out. It don't got to be blood. It could be just family, family as in helping people. And we can call you guys family. When you get involved with this podcast that we're doing, you're part of our family. We care about you. We're trying to give you the best content and entertainment imaginable. So I want to thank you guys for supporting us. We're doing a great job. We're expanding. And I want you to tell your friends and your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, tell them all that we're on. We're doing something good, giving you good content and enjoy this beautiful Sunday. And, blessings to our country and to our troops and people that's in harm's way. I mean, we just had a shooting in another part of the country where some first responders was going to a fire and they got ambushed by gunfire and someone got hurt. That's type of behavior, man. We put that stuff out and start loving each other as a country, man. And all the differences that we have with religion and politics, we need to come together on this stuff, man, because it's not making our country stronger by divisive rhetoric and talk and then not joining together as Americans. We got to be stronger Americans. We got to be fruitful Americans. We got to be thoughtful Americans. We got to be people that understand and respect other people's opinion because that's the only way when we talk about making America great again, the only way we can make America great again, we respect each other. That's the way it has to be. Can't be digging back for some old stuff that happened in the 60s and the 21st century when people was getting, mutilated. That's not America being the best it can be. Best it can be is to love and honor your fellow man. And that's my take for the night, this Sunday night. Enjoy your family and friends. Love each other more so than hurting each other.
Absolutely. You summed it up eloquently. You couldn't have said it any better than what you just said. Najee, what you got for us to close us out?
I ain't gonna lie. I can't talk what he just said. That he said a whole bunch of stuff that I agree and that I think about daily. So I'm gonna normally say peace and blessing, love God, 'cause He gonna love you. Travel more, try to live life more, because you got some people that don't live life. Some people work hard. It's matter. They just had a woman said that she worked 7 days a week. She wanted to take 3 days from all work just to rest her body. She tried to do that. He never woke back up. She worked 7 days a week. She said, and she posted that I'm gonna take 3 days to myself to get myself together, and she never woke back up.
Yeah, that's a sad,
Crazy.
Yeah.
sad story of that because a lot of people work
On this
really
tour
hard.
family, man.
A lot of people work hard, and it seemed like the harder, as a human being, it seemed like the harder you work, the further you fall behind. Especially if you're not in a
Yeah,
position of wealth and privilege and stuff like that. You can work yourself to death, and it doesn't matter because it just still either stays the same, idle, or you fall backwards. You don't never move forward. And to me, it's a systemic issue. This in the system that needs to be corrected in this country. We live in the greatest country in the world called the United States of America. I am very proud to be American. I'm so happy to have been born in this country, and I take pride in America and the peace and the blessings that America has provided for so many different people and countries and things of that sort. But as human beings, we definitely need to offer everything that we can give to a person and don't expect anything back. If you expect something back, that means you're in it for something that, you don't have to give from your heart. You give from your heart and don't expect anything back. If that person wants to help you back, that's fine. But if they do
Mm-hmm.
not want to help you back, you just move on. You do the good gesture and you keep on moving and you keep going. So God bless America. God bless our troops. I had an uncle that was in the military, so I come from a military family, and we pray for our troops all over the world, not just in America, but we pray for them in all over the planet to make sure they're safe, they're sound, and their happiness. And everybody' happiness matter. It might not your happiness not might not be my happiness, but we could both be happy. We don't have to agree upon everything, but we could still both be happy, you know. So, anyway, we'll talk to you again soon, and peace out. Take care of others, as I just said. And before you take care of yourself, you take care of others, and then that good gesture will come back to you someday. So, peace, love, and prosperity. We'll see you again soon. Take it easy.